Well, hello there. Jaime Jay here, sport my new cowboy hat, the cattleman cut, cattleman shape there, and just excited for episode 5 of the Delegation Desk Show, the hidden cost of cheap help. The hidden cost of cheap help is what this episode is about. So let's go ahead and crank this thing up. All right, I can't wait to hear the comments on the cowboy hat. But we're going to be talking about the Canada role features customer service representative in this episode 5 of the hidden cost of cheap help. Let's go ahead and open the desk. Welcome back to the Delegation Desk Show. This is a show for founders who thought hiring help would solve their problems, only to discover it created new ones. I'm Jaime Jay, founder of Bottleneck Distant Assistance and creator of the Delegation Intelligence category. And today we're going to be talking about something that costs founders more money than bad marketing, slow sales, or expensive software: cheap help. Not because the people are bad, but because the structure behind them is missing. So let's go ahead and see what's landed on the desk. All right, here's what's landed on the desk this week. We spoke with a founder who had hired 3 different assistants over the past year. Each one started strong, each one struggled, each one eventually left. The founder told me I must be terrible at hiring. I told him something he didn't expect. I said, "You're not bad at hiring. You're missing the system that makes hiring work. Cheap help becomes expensive when training is unclear, expectations are vague, ownership is undefined, and processes are undocumented." It's really important you understand that one. The cost is not the hourly rate. The cost is the rework, right? And that leads directly into today's candidate on the desk. In our third segment of the day, candidate on the desk, today's candidate is an executive virtual assistant that we like to call distant assistant, and with a focus on CRM and workflow systems. And this role is often underestimated. People think executive assistants manage calendars, and they do. They check your email. Yeah, they do that too. But what they really manage is execution, alignment, momentum. This candidate operates as a true partner to leadership, not just handling tasks, but building the systems, workflows, and pipelines that keep a business scaling without friction. She has a strong experience in CRM architecture and pipeline management, and Rhea has a background in operational documentation and structured workflows, creative thinking applied to marketing and execution, and the ability to translate ideas into organized, repeatable systems. Her toolkit includes CRM systems, project management platforms, creative tools, lead generation systems, and communication channels, along with a strong understanding of how AI can support her role. But here's what stood out. She doesn't just follow processes, she builds them, not by adding complexity, but by removing friction. And that's what real operators do. They create structure, they create flow, they create leverage. And inside a delegation department, someone like this becomes the engine behind execution. They don't wait for direction, they create clarity. And this is what turns scattered effort into aligned growth and instills a high level of productivity and efficiency, aligned with a very proactive mentality that gives you confidence to align and grow with scaling. So if you're interested in hiring someone like Rhea, by all means, reach out to us, and we'll be posting the link that you can either take the Delegation IQ Blueprint, you can schedule a consultation. We'd be happy to answer your question. Does this sounds like something that you might be looking for? Bottleneck is really good at identifying candidates because Ria's probably not going to be without a position much longer. She's pretty pretty high end there, so she's going to be pretty popular. So let's go ahead and jump into segment 4, the delegation download. All right, so this is where the rubber meets the road. This is kind of what we're talking about for this episode. Let's talk about the hidden cost of cheap help. It shows up in places founders rarely measure. Time spent explaining the same task again, time spent fixing mistakes, time spent worrying about what was missed. It's a confidence level reducer, right? Cheap help feels affordable on paper, and it's often very attractive. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's going to cost me this to get this done. I can't believe that. But that often comes with an expensive price in practice. And real delegation requires training, documentation, accountability, consistency. And without those, even the best person will struggle. With them, average people become exceptional performers. And by the way, what's really important about this particular topic is I've hired people that have had zero experience in doing what it is that they're doing today, but they're absolutely excelling at it because I took the time and invested into sharing what was in my brain with them to where they could go and document those processes. And 2 things happen. They perform tasks and it blows me away. And the second part of that is it gives me more confidence knowing that I'm comfortable delegating to them. I know that they're going to get stuff finished in a very professional manner. And so when you're out there looking to potentially hire somebody, or you're finding yourself getting completely overwhelmed and you just need to hand off some of these tasks, be prepared to start writing these things down. And be prepared to be spending a lot of time with this person, especially in an executive assistant role, because they're an absolute extension of who you are. One of the things that I do usually when I'm done with somebody on a Zoom call or something is I say bye for now in hopes that I talk with them again. And what you might find is the assistants here, the distant assistants that are working on our, especially on our main team here at Bottleneck, they might say bye for now too. And it's just because we're all kind of blending together, and that singular message is being multiplied by everybody on the internal team. And that's ultimately what you want. So be prepared about that. You need to hold yourself accountable by preparing and understanding that you need to be the person training them, because it's you that is going to be working with this executive assistant. You can't, or whomever it is that's working with them, needs to be prepared to train them. No matter how much they know about a certain CRM or certain tools or certain software, you will still find that you do things a little bit differently. Even though your competitors may use the same exact software, the way you go about it is different. So hopefully that resonates with you, and we'll go ahead and jump into segment 5 of the Category Corner. All right, welcome to the Category Corner. Delegation intelligence reframes the hiring conversation. The question is not how cheap can we hire? The question should be, how reliable can we build the system? Think about that for a second. How reliable can we build the system? The shift changes everything, because cheap help focuses on cost. Smart delegation focuses on outcomes, and outcomes are what scale businesses. And let me explain kind of what I mean. When founders hire based on price alone, they are solving the wrong problem, and they're trying to reduce expense. But the real expense in any business is not payroll. The real expense is inconsistency. Missed deadlines, unanswered emails, confused customers, rework, firefighting. Those are hidden costs that quietly drain time. And not a lot of people can attach a number to this time that you lose. They can't attach the amount of energy that you lose, and they can't attach what this does to your reputation. They have a hard time measuring this. And those costs do not show up on a spreadsheet, right? They show up in stress. They show up in late nights. They show up in the founder stepping back into work that should have been handled already. And that is why delegation intelligence focuses on reliability first, not speed, not price, reliability. Because reliable systems create predictable outcomes, and predictable outcomes create trust. Trust creates growth and is what every founder is chasing. So here's the truth. You do not scale a business by hiring cheaper people. You scale a business by building repeatable systems, systems that produce the same result every time, systems that do not depend on memory, and systems that do not depend on constant supervision, systems that protect your standard. That is what Delegation Department is built to do. Executive assistants protect your time, project coordinators protect your deadlines, success managers protect your client experience, and bookkeepers protect your financial clarity. Each role strengthens the system. Each documented process increases reliability, and reliability is what allows founders to step back without fear. I love it. It's a great feeling. Because when the system is strong, the business keeps moving. And that is why the difference between hiring help and building infrastructure is so appealing. And infrastructure is what creates freedom. That is the category. That is delegation intelligence. All right, let's go on to segment 6. What's coming across the desk? All right, next week, we're going to be talking about control, because this is the fear I hear more than any other. Founders will say, I want to delegate, but I do not want things done wrong, or I can't afford to make mistakes, or if I step back, everything falls apart. That's not a delegation problem. That's a control problem. And most people think control means holding on tighter, checking everything, watching every detail, staying involved in every single decision. But real control does not come from hovering. Real control comes from clarity. Clear instructions, clear expectations, clear documentation, and clear signals when work is complete. That is how quality is protected. And that is how communication stays consistent. And that's how results become predictable. Next week, we're going to break down step by step in how to delegate without losing control of quality, how to delegate without losing control of communication, and how to delegate without losing control of results. And we'll feature an executive assistant candidate once again. One of the things I want to point out about this is even if you've gone to business school, you can have your doctorate degree, MBA, doesn't matter. We've never been taught how to properly delegate. And that's what delegation intelligence is all about. We understood that was the villain. There's a villain in delegation. There's a villain in what we like to refer to as the founder's trap. And I highly encourage you to listen to that episode next week, because we're going to dial down on some of the challenges and issues of delegation. And we'll point out a couple really easy things that delegation intelligence, by following the framework within delegation intelligence, will allow you to be a delegation leader. So, they become the central point of coordination with the executive assistants. They're going to protect your calendar. They're the gatekeeper of your time, and the person who ensures nothing falls through the cracks. This is really important, right? So we have one role, executive assistant, but you can see they can do multiple things. So if you've ever said, no one can do this as well as I can, or it's just faster if I just do it myself, or I don't trust anyone with this yet, you won't want to miss this episode, because control is not something you keep. Control is something you design. And next week, we're going to show you exactly how to do that. So let's go to segment 7 and clear the desk. All right, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Cheap help is not the problem. Unstructured work is. When work is unclear, even great people struggle. When expectations are vague, mistakes multiply. When processes live in your cranium, your head, the business slows down, and the founder ends up stepping back into the work again, not because the team is incapable, but because the system has never existed. That is why hiring alone doesn't just fix delegation. Structure fixes delegation. You build the system first, then you build the team around it. Because the strongest businesses are not built on people alone. They're built on reliable processes that anybody can follow. And that is what creates consistency. That is what protects your standards. And that is what allows you to step back without fear. You don't need cheaper help. You need clear systems. I can't say that enough. We built a free assessment called the Delegation IQ Blueprint, and it shows you exactly where work is breaking down and what a real delegation system would look like inside your business. You'll find the link below. If this episode helped, subscribe. If you're tired of fixing the same problems over and over again, take the assessment. And remember this: build the system, then build the team. Clear the chaos, build the department. I'll see you next week, same desk, same time. And until then, get ready. Our producer, Jeff's going to go ahead and wrap it up. We'll talk to you soon.
Hello there, everyone, and thank you so much again for listening to our episode 5, which really is something that we're getting close to, getting answers to majority of CEOs, founders who are quite confused and kind of in the chaos of cannot delegate things to their team. So a quick one before we head out. If you've been thinking of hiring cheaper that would solve any problems in your company, and now you're realizing it's actually costing you more, well, that is the trap. So if you want help thinking through your setup, or there's something you want us to unpack on the show, just drop it in the comments. We pay attention to those because these information are very important for us to figure out if what our CEOs are looking for, what help do they need, and what things that we need to clear up for them. And also, if you're seeing this and not following yet, you're probably missing half of the play. So we're putting these out on our social media platforms in Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So wherever you wanted to see our content, our videos, and our episodes, feel free to select a platform and we'll definitely be there. So go follow us, subscribe, and never ever forget that notification bell in YouTube so that you will be aware if we had another episode for the week. And if you're at the point where you're done guessing and want to build this the right way, head to the bottleneck.online/let's-talk page so you can book a consultation and we'll walk you through on how to fix the structure first, so hiring will actually work for you. And that's it. Catch you on the next episode. See you again. Thank you so much. Bye for now.